Thank you for coming in, Ernest. It's an interesting take, isn't it? How much drug levels are you allowed within your system? And when we say drugs, we mean marijuana, of course, within your system to be able to drive and still be able to go to insurance and say, hello, I had an accident. I just had a little bit, but it was within the legal limit. Or is there no such a thing?
It's a very good question, Godfrey. There's certainly, since the constitutional ruling, there's been a lot of discussion in the legal fraternity and in the medical fraternity around the implications of what this means for everyday South Africans and also what it means for people's health.
Yeah.
A discussion that we at Dagga Insurance feel is really important is one that needs to happen in terms of making sure that customers are clear on what they are covered for and what behavior would result in not being covered.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the insurance industry historically has been quite good at surprising people with reasons not to pay claims. And we feel that it's important, given this ruling, that the insurance industry steps up and together with the other work that's happening in terms of developing legislation following this ruling, we feel it's important that the insurance industry steps up to educate clients and to be at the forefront of the discussion in terms of what does excessive use mean.
Absolutely.
Now, traditionally, the use of alcohol has been clearly defined in terms of what is excessive. There's a specific level of alcohol in your blood that is deemed
milligrams,
excessive.
whatever, of whatever part.
It can be tested in the field using a breathalyzer or, of course, more comprehensively using a blood test.
Right.
Now, with marijuana and other substances, it is not that easy. Although it is legally very clearly defined that you are not allowed to drive, according to the Road Traffic Act, with excessive drugs.
Right. Excessive.
Excessive.
Is the word.
And the definition that's used there is anything that materially impairs your ability to drive.
Right.
Now, those are very vague legal words.
Very, very.
And people have developed guidelines that 1 glass of wine or 2 glasses of wine or whatever, depending on your mass, etc. They have a rough idea of what is covered and what is not covered.
Right.
We want people to feel comfortable that if they are using marijuana or any other form of substance or even medication that is prescribed, what is the exact definition of excessive?
Right.
Because we want people that have insurance to be certain that they are actually covered.
So as the law currently stands, if I am stopped by a policeman and I don't know how the policeman measures that I have got some marijuana inside me, I have no protection if I am involved in an accident, or if a policeman stops me, he can't, can he stop me? Here's another question.
I think, again, as the law stands, because he is allowed to, the Road Traffic Act does prohibit you from driving if you've had excessive use that impairs your ability to drive. So if, according to the police officer or to the traffic officer, you are in that situation, he has the authority to pull you over and, to stop you from driving.
Okay, let's go to the accident.
In the case of the insurance company, they would be able to do the investigations to try and ascertain as to whether it materially impacted your ability to drive.
Right.
Now,
not whether there was a presence.
Not whether there was a presence, because technically you can't say that a presence definitely caused the accident.
Right.
But what they would need to prove as an insurance company is that excessive use actually triggered or significantly contributed to you making the accident.
Right.
So there's an additional clause in insurance. So apart from the fact that most traditional insurance companies exclude explicitly the fact that you alcohol use, there's an additional clause that says you as the insurance policyholder has to be responsible and not do anything that materially increases your risk. So that's an interesting one, in that this particular clause could be used by insurance companies to say that you have materially increased your risk.
Oh, materially increased your risk. And then we go into how to measure that. Which brings me to my next question. How can you measure the amount of marijuana inside someone's blood system and distinguish that from other drugs? I could be taking something else for another condition.
So there are developments in the medical field in terms of being able to test in the field, being able to test at the scene. They are not as easy or as reliable as the breathalyzer for alcohol is yet. And then the most comprehensive test is using a blood test. But again, because the level has not been defined as to what exactly excessive is, you would need to be very careful as a consumer to be put in a position where potentially your insurance company could decline your claim.
It sounds to me like we need a guinea pig.
We need a guinea pig. So it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, there's a lot of work going on in the legal fraternity to actually roll out legislation following the Constitutional Court ruling.
Right.
But we feel that the insurance industry should significantly play a role in helping to make people understand what is going on.
Right.
And I think it's important to say also, Godfrey, that, I mean, the question that must override all of this is surely safety.
Yes.
So our advice, while we are strongly encouraging the insurance industry to help people be aware of what's going on, our advice to the consumer, the man in the street, is obviously, when in doubt, don't drive. The lives of you as an individual and the other people that are affected should always be the number one thing.
Would I be correct in trying to understand this as the insurance industry resisting the ruling of the Constitutional Court?
No, I wouldn't say that yet. I wouldn't. I'm saying that we are proposing that Naked, as a new generation insurance business that is all about transparency, we are challenging the rest of the industry to follow suit in terms of proactively helping clients know always what they are covered for.
Ernest, here's the other side to this. So if I take marijuana and I declare to my insurer that I do take marijuana, I can see what's going to happen, right? My premiums are going up. Likely? Possible?
It is a possibility. It's a possibility. I mean, one of the interesting questions there is that, of course, as part of our constitution, we don't allow discrimination.
Yeah.
And so in some cases...
In this instance, you would be.
I mean, in some cases, for example, the premium that you pay for a medical aid doesn't depend on your gender, but the premium that you pay for a car insurance premium does depend on your gender. But
Ernest, does it not? If you're a man, don't you pay more because we are aggressive and we do all sorts of risks that women don't normally take? Anyway, that's another argument. But
no, so it's interesting that some of the European countries, for example, have prohibited the use of gender as a factor for determining what premium you should pay.
Right.
In South Africa, we're not there yet. So for car insurance, we do look at your gender, and that's why, on average, the premium, the car insurance premium for a lady is less, rightfully so. But it is a possibility that in future your use of drugs, recreational or medicinal, may be considered.
Legal?
Legal.
Is that legal?
I mean, as it stands, it's not illegal.
If my insurer raised my premiums, would that be legal?
It would be legal as it stands. I mean, of course, we would have to, from a civil perspective, we would have to make sure that we don't discriminate where it's not fair. So maybe there would be some pushback in terms of if people are using it for medicinal reasons.
Absolutely. I am not defending the people who take marijuana, nor do I take marijuana, but just exploring the boundaries.
So Godfrey, a last thing I wanted to say about in terms of safety. Obviously, over this coming period, we are really encouraging people to stay safe on the roads. Yeah. In terms of alcohol or any other use, if in doubt, don't drive. And we're also excited about the way for people to save money these days, with insurance being run on an app where you can press one button to pause your cover so that you're paying less for that time.
Absolutely. But in the meantime, do not take it if you're going to drive. Goodness.
Good advice.
Tough world out there. Thank you, Ernest, for coming in. Ernest North is the co-founder at Naked Insurance.